Triumph have been launching shed loads of new bikes and teasers over the past couple of weeks, and today here's another one, some preview shots of a new and updated Tiger 1200. Now this is exciting because all the other big adventure bikes have had their updates for 2021. We've got awesome bikes to choose from with the 1250 GS, Ducati's Multistrada V4, the KTM 1290 Super Adventure S, and the Harley Pan America. But the current generation Tiger 1200 is a little long in the tooth now, so can they properly revamp it to make it competitive once again? Well, in this video we'll have a good look at the pictures and see what clues we can pick out. But I had a bit of a feeling this was coming soon, and so earlier this week I took a demo out of the current generation Tiger 1200 to find out where its strengths lay and where it needed improvement.
No, this bike certainly has its strengths. A big one for me is the comfort. This is such a comfortable bike. Spot on riding position, the way the bars are set up, the comfort of the seat, great wind protection from this screen. I only get a little bit of, well, I can feel a light grazing of wind here on my forearms, but otherwise I can't feel a thing. And then you've got the electronically adjustable suspension. It's WP Apex, I believe, but it's Triumph's own system. TSAS, Triumph Suspension Adapting System. I made that up. So yeah, it doesn't really feel like they've got a great deal to do when it comes to comfort levels. The other thing is the engine as well. It's absolutely cracking, this 1200 triple. Lots and lots of power there. I was really surprised at just how quick this bike is, especially given its weight. Just listen to it. In the same way that the Tiger 800 is a bit like an adventure street triple, this feels like an adventure speed triple. And you get the quick shifter on this one as well, so banging through the gears, it's just absolutely rapid. The third big strength of this bike is the tech and gadgetry. Like I said, it's got a quick shifter, electronically adjustable suspension, heated grips, heated seat, electronic screen. Just got to scroll through on the screen and then get to the right setting, and then you just use the joystick. Look, screen goes down. Really nice feature, and actually something that you don't get on a lot of other large adventure bikes, even like the GS. TFT dash is good, cruise control works well, loads of riding modes, lean sensitive rider aids. There really isn't a great deal missing on this bike.
But clearly, with this generation being about 10 years old now, there's room for improvement to bring it up to date.
Visually, it probably does need a little bit of an update. You've still got quite large headlights, for example, and it's really, you know, the whole market's moving towards smaller LEDs, so you definitely expect that Tiger 900 front end, as well as the sort of more angular bodywork, a bit more rally style, innit, the Tiger 900. You might also expect some changes to the engine. Now, I don't necessarily think, having ridden it a bit today, that it needs a lot more power. It's plenty peppy enough. But there are two things. Number one, you've got stuff like the Multistrada V4, which has just taken the expectations of what power you can get in a large adventure bike and pushed it right up there to close to the super nakeds and sports bikes. And then the other thing is they added 30 horsepower to the speed triple this year, so it went from just under 150 to just under 180. And obviously there's some shared DNA there, so not only does the Multi V4 set expectations, but so does the speed triple. But at the end of the day, it's those big headline figures that sell bikes that make the marketing easier, and so I wouldn't be surprised if they added a good chunk of power to the top. Now, the other big decision for this bike on the engine is whether they move over to that T-plane crank that they fitted to the Tiger 900. Instead of the regular firing intervals you get on a triple like this, or the street triple, or the Trident, basically any other triple, they've spaced them in a T-shape, and it means that two cylinders fire closer to one another, and then the last one, there's a larger interval, and what it does is gives it a bit of a V-twin or parallel twin with a 270 crank kind of feel, so it helps the Tiger 900 emulate some of the character of the Africa Twin, the KTM 890 Adventure, the BMW F850 GS, and they say that it gives it more of a feel of torque in the low revs, which means it performs better off-road, or at least it feels better off-road. And I do think that the Tiger 9 does feel pretty impressive off-road. I remember doing the launch in Morocco. We did plenty of riding off-road there with the guys from the Triumph Adventure experience. It did feel grunty in the way that a lot of triples don't. But is it right for the Tiger 1200? I mean, the Tiger 900, you can conceivably expect some people to take it off-road, but this, really, most of them are going to be doing big touring miles, where a smoother engine might actually be preferable. So that's a tough call for them, you know? Do they go after the KTM sort of 1290 Super Adventure vibe and give it more of that V-twin feel, or do they play to the strengths of the triple, which is much smoother than that sort of big thumpy twin? The last thing is the tech, and like I say, it's absolutely stacked with tech already. The Speed Triple was the same. It was almost like, well, what can you add to a bike that has all the riding modes, lean sensitive rider aids, keyless, cruise control, all that good stuff. They did manage to integrate the fuel filler cap into the keyless system. I definitely expect that for the next Tiger 1200. But otherwise it's going to have to be something big like radar cruise control. Now I haven't really seen any clues or hints to suggest that might be the case. There haven't been any spy shots of bikes, I don't think, with a radar on the front or even a blank for a radar. But it does feel like it'll be coming to the GS soon, because BMW have put it on the R18 Transcontinental, the R1250 RT. Ducati have it on the Multi V4. KTM have got it on the 1290 at a really good price as well. It's standard equipment, right down at, I think it's like 14-15 grand. So perhaps that's a bit of a necessity to make it competitive.
So with all that in mind, let's have a look at the prototype pictures and see if we'll get what I've predicted. Here are 9 things that I've picked out from the images. So like I said, the Speed Triple got a massive boost in power this year. Now if you put the engine cases of the prototype and the Speed Triple 1200 RS side by side, they look pretty similar, so it'd be no surprise if the Tiger is based upon a similar design. I'd expect the Tiger to get a different tune with more emphasis on mid-range, but surely will get more than the current Tiger 1200's peak power of 140 horses. This could also mean that it won't get the T-plane crank of the Tiger 900 if the engine is closer to that of the Speed Triples, and I think that's a good thing. The lighter, more nimble 900 is always going to be the best choice for off-roading, and the 1200 will be more biased to touring and big miles, where the smoothness of the even firing intervals of their regular triple are a real asset. Another benefit would be weight. The current Tiger 1200 is a bit of a heifer at 242 kilograms dry, but they shaved 10 kilograms off the Speed Triple this year, 7 of which came off the engine, so presumably some of these savings will be gladly passed on. You'd have to say that visually it looks smaller and leaner too, so hopefully that's the case. Another big visible change is that the single-sided swing arm is gone, with a double-sider clearly on show. Thankfully it's still a shaft drive, which removes the need for chain maintenance, but single-sided swingers can be pretty heavy, so perhaps this new design is another weight-saving measure without sacrificing strength. Now the previous generation used suspension from WP Apex, which is KTM's in-house brand, as did the Tiger 800. But when the Tiger 800 got updated as the Tiger 900, they moved away to Showa on the off-road rally models and Marzocchi on the road-focused GT models. It looks to be the case here too, with no WP branding or design features visible, but I'd still expect semi-active electronically adjustable suspension though, as per the previous gen, as it makes for super plush touring as well as convenience when it comes to preload adjustments. The brakes also look like they've got a bit of a buff, although the previous gen really wasn't bad. It had radially mounted 4-pop Brembos that had plenty of power, but this prototype has the same style lemma calipers as the Tiger 900 lineup, which are slightly higher in quality, and therefore you could expect marginally improved performance. Now of course this looks to be the off-road focused XC or rally model, but whereas the previous gen had a 19-inch front wheel, this one looks bigger, perhaps a 21-incher like the Tiger 900 rally models. This should help it roll better over rough surfaces and provide a good choice of knobbly tyres. Just like the previous gen, spokes laced to the edge, so they ought to be tubeless. Now the styling has had a big update. Clearly there's some new bodywork, and there are some touches that bring it more in line with the Tiger 900, like the higher exhaust, white frame, and some new headlights that are a bit smaller, but still with their own distinct look. Now there's no radar for adaptive cruise control in the pictures, but I'm wondering if this different headlight design is there to accommodate one. There's a huge gap right where the other adventure bikes like the KTM 1290 or Multistrada V4 both house theirs. Surely that's going to be the case here, but perhaps they're reserving it for the road-focused XR or GT models. Last up, the 5-inch TFT display of the previous generation will almost certainly make way for a bigger slab like the 7-inch screen on the Tiger 900, which is excellent. I'd fully expect phone connectivity as standard for taking calls, messages, controlling media, and sat-nav prompts. There are no pictures of the prototype's dash or cockpit, but this one's just a given. So that's what we can see and some of my predictions. I'd love to know what you think I got right, what you think I got wrong, and what you think the new Tiger 1200 needs in order to be competitive down in the comments below. I always love hearing your thoughts, so do let me know. And if you're new here and you want to see more videos like this, I'm sure I'll be heading up to see the Tiger 1200 in the flesh soon. Then do hit subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.